Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2025 Spring Concert. Tonight's concert will feature all of our band students, along with very special guest artists, and something a little extra at the end. The students have put in many hours of work during class time on this music, and we hope you enjoy it. We will have small, brief intermissions between each ensemble to move chairs, warm up, tune. While we're warming up, please feel free to get close-up pictures of your students. The warm-ups will last a few minutes. So again, welcome. Hope you enjoy this. If you do have your cell phones on, that's fine. If you just silence them, make sure they don't go off to the concert. All right.
Varsity Wind Ensemble. Their selections include March Primo by Evelyn, Wings of the Mind by Balmages, and Flash by Beth. This was the UIL concert and sight reading program for this year, in which the band earned the Superior 1 rating. Please welcome the Refugio HS Varsity Wind Ensemble and their director, Ted Richards.
The band has had a very successful spring. As mentioned, they earned ones at concert and sight reading, but we also had good participation and great results at UIL solo and ensemble competition this year. And we do have 3 all-state students, Chandler Brown, Corey Beretta, and Gabriel Palomino, who, by the way, is now a 2-time all-stater. These 3 students will represent Refugio at the state contest May 24th. Our next piece is called Wings to the Mind.
some may be surprised to know that the UIL has a song list that we pick from our concert contest pieces. Most are contemporary or classical standards. Our last piece from this part of our concert is unusual in its style of concert. Flash is an upbeat and exciting piece to learn and play. We hope you enjoy it.
Mister, what are you doing? Moving. Oh. didn't do nothing.
What did I do?
You didn't do nothing.
I'm doing to my work. I'm trying to turn a line.
You might have hit a button or something. I should get some close-ups of these guys.
Good evening, everyone. Refugio ISD is deeply honored to present tonight's special guests, the United States Air Force Band of the West Brass Quintet. The United States Air Force Band of the West has had the privilege of performing for presidents, dignitaries, heads of states from around the world, earning a distinguished reputation as one of America's premier military ensembles. This extraordinary performance was nearly a year in the making. Thank you to the dedication of Mr. Burtz, who submitted the application back in June. We are fortunate to have this exceptional group here with us tonight. It is truly a privilege for our students, faculty, staff, and the entire Refugio community to experience a performance of this caliber right here at home. On behalf of Refugio ISD, our school board, faculty, staff, students, and the entire community, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to the members of the United States Air Force Band of the West for their service and artistry. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the United States Air Force Band of the West Brass Quintet as they perform for us this evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Senior Airman Carter Loud, and I'm the tuba player of this group. I originally come to you from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. It's a small town east of Tulsa. I've been in the Air Force for about 3.5 years, and we are stationed at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. If we have any Air Force vets in the building, you have most definitely been to Lackland Air Force Base before, because that's where we hold basic training. So that first piece we played is by one of the great American composers named George Gershwin. That one was called Strike Up the Band. But first, I'd like to speak on behalf of the whole Air Force. You can see right here on the screen, we have a really cool poster with a QR code that can take you to some recruiting details and information. One thing we like to say in the Air Force is we're always hiring. And any job you could possibly think of in the regular outside world, we've got it in the Air Force. There's a lot of cool pictures here of, I see some maintainers, I see people working cyber, pilots obviously. So if you're at all interested in the Air Force, in any service, be it active duty, National Guard, the reserves, you should be able to find some information right there. And so moving on to our next piece, this is another great American composer. This is from a Broadway musical by a man named Leonard Bernstein. This is something you may be familiar with. They just made a movie for it recently. This is some selections from West Side Story. This is one of the great musicals, one of my personal favorites. And one thing I always like to say before we get going with these shows is in today's Air Force, we're always about improvement, about critique, trying to always find ways to be better. So if there's any piece you like, please come up, tell us. We'd love to hear about it. If there's any pieces you don't like, you can call our hotline at 1-800-GO-NAVY. We'd love to take your call and to hear all your poems. But without further ado, we're going to play a few selections from Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story.
Hello, everybody. My name is Airman First Class Luis Clutch. I play the trumpet. I just joined the Air Force Band of the West 6 months ago. Having a great time. I hope you enjoyed the last piece we played. The next one we have for you is something that unites everybody in the Air Force. When you go to basic training, they cut your hair short and you learn how to march. So, we're going to play a march for y'all. It's by Charles Belsterling called March of the Steel Men, which is written to commemorate the steel workers of the USA. So I hope you enjoyed this next piece. And last announcements for you.
All right, where are my trombone players at? I see a couple in the audience. This next tune is actually going to feature the trombone. It is from the classic cinematic masterpiece, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is Pure Imagination. And although that movie actually didn't see a lot of success when it first came out, this song has really stood the test of time. And this particular arrangement was actually done by one of our trombone players back at the band. And it has kind of a jazzy twist to it, so I hope you all enjoy this rendition of Pure Imagination.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Staff Sergeant Derek Akers. I play the French horn in the group that's before you. First, I just want to thank Mr. Ted Burtz, who's the band director here, and Refugio ISD. So thank you very much, sir, for bringing us here. And Madam Superintendent backstage here, thank you very much for being such gracious hosts and allowing us to come into your community for a day. This is one of the things that we do as Air Force Band. We aim to honor, inspire, connect, and recruit. So we go into communities just like this in hopes to honor the veterans who came before us and honor their families to make for sure that they know that the Air Force and the rest of the DoD never forgets their service. And just as the veterans served, so did their family whenever they were on long deployments and their PCSs, traveling across the country, service member children. April was the month of the military child, so I hope some people got recognized for that. So finally, if you want to follow us on social media, you can see us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can go check us out there. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us messages. You can also Google our address, the Band of the West. It's in San Antonio, and we love to get letters and we love to get cards and things like that from you guys, especially from the communities that we play at. It really means a lot to us. It makes our bosses happy. And with that, on behalf of General Oakland, who is the 502nd Air Base Wing Commander, and General Robinson, who is the AETC Commander of Joint Base San Antonio, thank you for inviting us into your community. We hope we can come back soon. And we're going to end our part of the program now with one more tune. This is your national march. This is the Stars and Stripes Forever. But about a month ago, we were in New Orleans for the Mardi Gras parade with our entire ceremonial band. We were marching down Bourbon Street and we were pretty inspired. So we're going to bring you the Stars and Stripes Forever with a New Orleans brass band style twist. Thank you very much for having us.
will have a small brief intermission while we're warming up. We're going to move some chairs around, get the stage back. While we're warming up, please feel free to take close-up pictures of your student. The warm-ups will last a few minutes.
Did I do that, Mr. Lee?
I don't know. We're gonna have one. We're gonna have one next week. This weekend. This weekend. We're gonna have this one. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm not ready for that. You're gonna be a grandpa. What's in his grandfather? His grandfather. Performances like that, what? Really good.
No, it's good. No, they're on it. Just show that everything's on this side of the window. Like out here in the hall. Somewhere that says, that one was about this. The one by the he was getting stuck. I told him about it. He said it was that sensor thing, but it's not. But it's in. Yes, where the hallway is, and for you, that's it. Sixth grade.
The next band to perform this evening will be our 6th grade concert band. Their selections include Burglar's Dream by Lavender, Cool It by Nari, and Warp Speed by Story. They have worked really hard for what seems like forever on these selections. Please welcome the Refugio Middle School Concert Band.
I'd like to recognize the soloists for that piece, Jay Scarza and Deegan Young. Our next piece was written by a professor at Northwestern University. It was specifically designed for first-year players, and the purpose is to learn about keeping steady time. The piece is called Cool It.
Beginning band in some ways is actually the hardest. Students learn to make proper characteristic sounds, technique, and musicianship. There are some very talented students in this group. There are some very enthusiastic students in this group. Overall, this is a really good group of students, and we want to take this opportunity to thank and recognize the parents of these students for doing such a great job raising them. We hope you enjoy our last piece of the evening called Warp Speed by Michael Story.
Again, we will have a small brief intermission while we're warming up for the next band. Please feel free to get close-up pictures of your students. The warm-ups will last just a few minutes, very few minutes.
She did good, yeah. She did decent. She did good.
Our next band to perform this evening is the 7th and 8th grade symphonic band. Their selections include Elizabethan Band by Owens, March Grandiosa by Smith, and Dragon Slayer by Dennis. Please welcome their Refugio Symphonic Band.
Yesterday, the students received a form. The students got a form to take home to you yesterday that has the information about this year's band banquet. If the form did not make it home to you, I have extras up here that I'll leave on the stage for you to pick up. We want to close out our concert this evening with an introduction to what our marching show will be for next year. Music still needs a little work. And of course, we aren't allowed to start the marching drill until the high school band camp starts in July 28th. But this show is going to be pretty fun. And we want to give you a small preview, okay? So as soon as we get there.
While the students come to the stage, let's have a round of applause for our fantastic band director who's done a wonderful job. Thank you, Mr. Burke. I will not go.
Please, how about another round of applause for all of our band students? Thank you so much for coming out this evening, and have a good evening. Thank you very much.